What's up, guys? Going to be doing episode 4 of betting strategies and tips for MMA. This is going to be a good episode, guys, so lock in. I'm going to be talking about a lot of valuable information in this video. As you can see from the title and the thumbnail, I'm going to be talking about hedging. I did mention it quickly in the managing profits episode, but this is going to be a bit of a different angle on it. I want to say real quick, guys, I do feel this is a small community. The MMA predictions videos are guys who do it. There are a bunch of guys who do it. And I do feel like most of us are aware of each other. And I do think a lot of the guys watching these videos, obviously, are in that community and watch, at least one other predictor. Now, the reason I wanted to reiterate hedging is based on some misinformation that's come out by another predictor, kind of riding off of my, when I was talking about hedging. Now, the same predictor had put out a video. Last week I had put out the episode that was talking about not paying for picks. So I don't believe that you guys need any of the people that are charging to give you bets. I explained why in that video. I won't go into it here. But the next day or 2 days later, this same predictor had put up a similar video going over all the same topics, basically saying the exact same things that I had said in my video. And it caught my eye, and I did mention in the comments, if you're going to take content, you should at least shout out the smaller channel. Now, I was respectful about it. Going into somebody else's channel and, kicking up shit and being disrespectful isn't going to help you out. It's going to make you look bad, and, ultimately they can erase it anyway. So he was actually good about it. Said that he had subscribed and had respected, what I was doing and things like that. I did think that he had taken the content, but I felt like he had a little bit of remorse for it, and he dealt with it, in a respectable way. So I was, I got off of that. It's whatever. And moving on, right? A couple of days later, though, I also saw that he had posted a betting 101 or something, some 101 type of video. And he was talking about hedging. Now, this is where I kind of wanted to get involved with a response, and that's why I'm going to focus a bit on this episode on the hedging. Now, the tip that was given out in that video was basically what he does is and some of you guys might do this too, so that's why I want to talk about it. What he does is he has a bunch of parlays ending with the same fighter. So, for instance, last week it was Ben Askren. He had, I don't know how many parlays, but he said a bunch. So let's just say it's 5. So he has 5 parlays ending with Ben Askren. Come the end of the night, he now is faced with having to hedge those parlays because if Ben Askren loses, all of those parlays are ruined. So he then puts in a bet on Maya to win either by finish or submission. I can't remember which he bet on, but he would then pick, one of the outcomes for the opponent of the fighter he bet. He'd pick an outcome that was what he thought would happen. So he wouldn't just pick them to straight win. He would attach an outcome to that. So either by decision, submission, for them to get a finish, whatever. And that's how he would do it. And then he put himself in a position that either way, he would win money, or at least in his mind. Now, I want you guys to know that 101 video or tips are some of the worst tips and the worst 101 gambling video that I've ever seen. It's literally horrendous information, terrible betting strategy, terrible way to hedge, all the way around, stupid. Is the nicest way I can put it. First and foremost, any professional gambler, any gambler that makes consistent money or knows anything about it, will tell you that that's stupid. Number one. So I don't really even need to, convince anybody that it's not smart. It's just, period, it's not smart. There's no other way of putting it. It's a stupid strategy. To make a video putting out a losing strategy, it doesn't make sense to me. So I had to address it. First thing I'm going to talk about is the correct way to hedge. In this guy's situation, there's a million different ways I can attack that from, all different angles on why it's a terrible way to go about betting. But let's just put it to you like this. Let's say he takes those 5 Ben Askren parlays and eliminates him from them, right? So let's just say you do one parlay with all the fighters that were in that parlay minus Ben Askren. So instead of adding him to all 4 of those, you're going to do one bet with the fighters minus Ben Askren. That way, if you do get to the main event, they've already cashed. You're already in the green. You made the money. All right. So there's already profits there. And it's one bet, right? Then you also have the one with Ben Askren attached. All right. At that point, you can hedge, but you're hedging on one bet and you already won money. All right. Now, there's, of course, other ways to go about this, like I said, but this is just kind of a basic one to explain. It's so stupid, what he was doing. So it's okay to hedge. Don't get me wrong. But you don't want to have 5 parlays with the one guy to hedge on. It's okay to hedge on parlays. So I want to make that clear, guys. I want to reiterate that. It is okay to hedge, but you don't want to be hedging to cover a bunch of different bets. It's an insurance policy, and it should be used in like, for me, I use profit. Like, first and foremost, I'd like to use betting credits. Like, if you get those credits when you open an account, that will match your initial input or your initial deposit, they'll match that with betting credits. Those credits aren't actual cash, but they can be used to win cash, and that will go into your account, right? So if you use all those credits just to hedge, then it's okay. Or if you're going to have a $500 night, say, then you can take out maybe 100 of that profit, make it a $400 night, and just make that as your insurance policy, right? But there's absolutely no reason, guys, to have multiple parlays with the same fighter repeating over and over. It's stupid. You're guaranteed in the long run to lose money. All right. I've won money consistently for years now. That's why I made this channel. That's why I put it out there, right? I wouldn't even have thought to do something like this if I hadn't been successful for a long time. And another big part of it is just hearing a lot of the bullshit that's spewed out on some of these channels. And I just wanted to correct it and put out some, proper information for people to use to make money. Gambling is not a game just for fun or to lose money or for excitement. It's, the intention that people have when they put money in a betting account isn't to throw it away. It's to make money. And when 95% of people, or they say 90 to 95, don't make money and are going to be losers, you want to be that 5%, and it's extremely hard to do. But there is ways to do it. There is methods. You just need to stick to your plan, the game plan that works. Once you find the game plan that works, you have to be super strict about that game plan. And these methods, guys, are super stupid. Don't have a multitude of parlays at the end of the night that you have to cover. Don't do any of that sweat bets every weekend. Fucking, it's bad. It's not smart. Do individual bets, confident bets with good value. If you're sitting there looking at it before you click place bet, don't do it. Like, if it's really something that you're having a hard time deciding, you're forcing the bet. Don't force bets. All right. Look at a bet, say that looks good, right? If you see my video that I put out this week, I give you guys, I think there's 3 or 4 in this video that looked good, right? That stood out to me. It's not going to be every fight. It's probably not even going to be half the fights. You might, if you're lucky, find that 3 or 4 card that are off. And then sometimes throughout the weeks, the line moves and it creates good opportunities. So they might drop shitty, but then by the time the fight rolls around, the odds are now good. So they can change as well. So yeah, you got to just take advantage of the fights that the line is off, and you're confident. In the long run, you will make money. It is the way to make money. Like I said, I have been doing it for a while and been consistently making money. That said, you will have losing nights. You'll have losing weeks. You'll have, hopefully you don't have losing months, but you will go on losing streaks. If you bet long term, this weekend, it is possible that all those picks lose and we have a shit night, right? Of course, I'll have a small backup parlay with a free bet or whatever, so I'll never come out, totally broken, and I'll never use a big percentage of my bankroll. That's another big thing, guys. Always have a few events, on backup so that you don't burn through your bankroll. Never spend a good majority of it. Spend maybe 20% a card, if that. Like, once you get a big bankroll, just chip away at it. Like, don't spend big amounts. Take little amounts to make your bets. Keep growing it. You can't grow it when you're betting half of it every week. When these guys talk about compound interest, they forget to give you all the key components to betting with compound interest. Once you get that profit, you're going to bet with that profit, right? You're not going to spend your full bankroll every week. I think there's a misconception out there, and these guys don't tell you, you're not spending your full bankroll every card. You're only putting in a small fraction of your bankroll and risking it every week to grow that and then continuously grow profit. You can't do that betting your entire bankroll. So be smart, guys. Money management is a huge part of it. And some of these money management tips with the hedging and that were just irking me, man. You can't stay in your fucking lane is the best way I can put it. You do prediction videos, you bet for fun, you're a casual bettor, you're not a professional bettor, you're not consistently winning money, and I know that because of your methods. So give people your picks, be entertaining. I'm not here to tear you down, and I haven't even shouted out his name. But because it is a small community, a lot of people see these videos. And also, I was able to give you guys some good information for hedging as well. I didn't want to focus only on this person. I wanted you guys to have some key pieces of information that you can take from it. But I also wanted to make sure that anybody who was influenced by that video has the information and is able to determine that it's bad and you should not structure your bets like that. You should not risk it or do it like that. And because I know that he's watched previous videos and, used some of my points and content, he's watching this and he's now going to be aware of how stupid it is. And I'm sure that with the losing record that he guaranteed has doing this, he's going to change it. And I hope he does, because I don't want to see anybody helping the bookies by being, stupid with the bet slips. They love parlays. The bookies love parlays. That's why the accumulators are so high the more fighters you add. That's why I say strict rule. No more than 3 fighters, guys. Don't care how confident you are. Better to keep it to 2. As soon as you get to close to plus money and get a nice number where you can make some good profit, leave it at that. Don't get greedy. Greed will kill you in gambling. There's no such thing as a super lucky night where you're gonna, a lot of people say, oh, I feel it tonight, I'm gonna hit this parlay. No, you're not gonna hit it. So the bookies know this. Every card, as an example, guys, every card I'll do some change, $2-3 for the whole card. So I'll just click every fight which way I think it's gonna go. Those hit maybe once a year. They don't hit, and it's a lottery ticket, right? It's completely unlikely that that's ever gonna happen. Even if you cut down in half and do half the card, a third of the card, it's all super unlikely. That's why I say you got to be really careful. Hedging is only necessary, guys, when you're at the end of a single bet. You don't want to hedge on 5 bets. All right, hedging is only a tool that should be used occasionally. It should not be, your regular method of gambling. And if I see that it is, then I know you're not very smart. Sorry to say. My goal is to lead people to the correct strategies, the ways that over time, and you will hear me repeat this, I've said it a million times already, over time you'll make money. That's the goal. At the end of the year, or, every quarter or 6 months, when you look at your account, you're going to say, shit, like, this is working. I might have had a bad week last week. I might have had a bad week this week. All my picks might have lost, whatever. But when I look at my account, I'm up double, triple, 4 times, 5 times what I initially invested. That's the key, guys. Another thing is don't withdraw. Keep your account balance in there. Now, if you have a crazy night where one of those dollar parlay hits and you win that lottery ticket bet, sure, cash out a good bit, but grow that bankroll so you can use more capital to make your bets. When you grow that bankroll, say you started at 200 and now you're up to 500, increase the amount that you use per bet, right? If you want to grow this account, you can't continue to bet with the same amount you started with forever, right? As your bankroll grows, you want your bets to grow, the size of your bets to grow. That's how your account will get bigger and bigger. And I've tried these methods. My account does grow. I'd say I do a cash out maybe quarterly. If there's a good amount in there, just because I don't want any shady shit happening with accounts closing down or having to, wait on verifications and shit. There's some things that bookies will do that'll piss you off. So you got to be aware of that as well. So yeah, I like to let it grow. Say you put in 200 the first night and you turn it into 4. Don't cash out. Keep that 4, bet with the 200 profit. Leave the other 200 there, for the next event. Just always have your backup events. Don't spend it all. I like to say at the most, maybe, if you have a big bankroll, maybe at the most 20% on a confident card. If you have a small bankroll, maybe like 100 or 200, you can get up to 30 to 40% of your bankroll on an initial event. Just because you're already starting with a small capital, it's not really that much of a risk. But when you do get up there, guys, you can start adding risk, and those individual bets you make are going to be the money makers. It's not going to be the parlays. I'm telling you now, the ways you're going to make money over time when you're betting like this is betting on lines that are off, betting on live dogs, betting on good value individual picks. Sometimes the super confident 2-fighter picks. So, on weekends when they had Bones Jones and Mighty Mouse back in the day, you could do a parlay there and be confident in it. But those are rare, right? So that's why I say your way to make money in MMA is going to be the straight bets, occasional small parlays, and hedging on individual bets. If you need to hedge more than once, then you made a mistake. So guys, just be wary of these guys that are coming out of their lanes and giving you guys advice on things they don't know shit about just for clickbait, Of course, I want my channel to grow, but I won't come out of my lane, if that makes any sense, right? There is other things that I consider talking about as far as betting goes, like other promotions and things like that, sports, but I'm sticking just to MMA. I want this channel to be MMA based and only focused on what I have expertise in. I don't have real expertise in any other sport like I do in MMA, so I'm going to stick just to this. And I think other people, when you don't know what you're talking about, you should do the same, because there are people, and you guys don't realize this, some of you guys that are making the videos that listen to what you're saying, that take it to heart and lose money. And a lot of these people don't have disposable income. You guys have to remember, whether you're watching these videos or you're making them, not everybody thinks like you. And you have to keep that in mind. Some people, aren't disciplined, and they just pull the trigger and they think, okay, this guy sounds like he knows what he's talking about. I got to make this money. I had a bad week last week and I'm going to do it. You got to keep those people in mind. Once you start losing people money, it will affect things. So only give out tips that you're confident in. And this community, there's a lot of good people. There really is. Like a lot of the MMA community will kind of just take the word of people. And it's not because they're stupid. It's because they're doing fight research, right? And I really think you got to be accurate with this, because if you know what you're talking about one fighter, and you sound really, really good when you talk about them, and it does match up, but then you don't know so much about the next fighter and you want to start talking about them, and you're giving misinformation, as like I was just talking about with betting info. You might know a little bit about, betting, but when it comes to getting into parlay talk and really professional betting, you don't. So just always be weary of what you see out there, guys. And if people really know what they're talking about, if you've never seen them speak on something before, and then all of a sudden a year later, 2 years later, they want to start producing things like that, be careful. And that's why I'm here, to make people money, to make sure that there is a source if anybody has questions and wants to know, is this a smart move? What would you do in this case? I'm more than happy to answer those questions. But I'm going to run down this one more time, guys, and you guys can write this down and make this kind of your rule set for when you make bets. So I'm going to give you guys a second here. Pull up your notes on your phone, whatever, and write these down. If you're one of the guys that is a super serious gambler and all you want to do right now is get your bankroll back up or build one, take these tips down, all right? First and foremost, parlays. Only 2, at maximum 3 fighters, and they have to be super confident. So when it comes to parlays, guys, they are very risky. I know it sounds like, yeah, but you know what? Those guys are probably going to win. There's way too many variables, and majority of the time, parlays do not hit. That's why, like I said, guys, the bookies will let you run up the multiplier really high because they know it. So parlays, super confident picks, super low numbers, maximum of 3. Okay? Straight bets, super confident picks, or confident. It doesn't have to be as confident as the parlays. When I'm talking about the parlays confident, we're talking, and I use this guy as a good marker all the time, Mighty Mouse confidence, right? For parlays. Now, straight bets, when you see good value because the lines are off, kind of like Kevin Lee this week, you can kind of bet based on what you feel the value is. So if you really think, okay, Kevin Lee should win this fight, you can go a little bit heavier, but because his odds are so good, you don't really need to. And you know what, guys? I'm going to give you an example of this right now. I don't think I've ever done this, so let's do it right now. That's why I had this up, so why not? Now, when I bet Kevin, he was at 2.5. He's down to 2.37 now. So when you pull it up and you want to make a bet, so you'll see there in the right-hand corner of the screen, I'm going to use an increment of 10 because it gives a good idea. Okay. So if I bet 10, for instance, that is a common number. People like to use units of 10 or 100. So I'm going to bet $10. That's going to win me $23.70, right? So a lot of people just do that. Now, here's another way to look at it, guys. Instead of doing 10, look to win that 10. Look to win a unit versus bet a unit. And this is what I mean. Let's say, I think it'll be around 7. Sorry about this, guys. All right. So there you go. It actually, 750 is a better number. Let me enter 750 because that'll get me closer to that 1 unit. Actually, 725 would have probably been exactly it, but we'll go to 750. Now, of course, guys, this can be $750, $7,500, but we're using this as a good placeholder. Okay, this is taking a lot longer than I thought, guys. Apologies for that. All right, so there you go. So you're betting here, as opposed to betting $10, you're going to bet $7.50 to win $10. So you have to put up less of a risk. This is also a good tactic for guys that are building up their bankroll. Once you get into the profit, you're betting with profit, you're up in the grands and things like that. This isn't as necessary, still not a bad idea no matter what, but this is good to build your bankroll. Bet the number that you need to make that unit, right? Or 2 units. So you could have done $15 here to make 2 units, right? And it's a good way to go about it. When the odds are even higher up, so let's say he was 2.7 instead of like 2.3, then you got to bet a lot less to make that unit. So, it's also good just because you don't have to put as much capital out. You don't have to risk as much of your bankroll. Let me pull up another quick example on here if I can find another set of good odds. And the reason I'm saying this, guys, and you might say, well, you're not going to get as much profit. No, you won't get quite as much profit, but you're not risking as much. If, say, you do lose for whatever reason, then you know that you didn't lose as much. And when you win, you're getting that unit. So it's good when you're doing dog picks to approach it that way once in a while. Is there any other good? Okay, so 262 is another good one. This will be Darren Till. All right, so let's try putting in, I'm thinking it'll be about $6.50 for this one, $6. Yeah, so close enough. So with this, you put in $6 to get that unit, or almost. You're getting $9.75. So let's just say that was, $600. That'll give you an example of how much profit's, really there. But this is, like I said, just a good placeholder. So you bet 6, you win a unit, right? And it is, like I said, for guys that are just starting out gambling and building a bankroll, this is a good way to go about doing it when you're betting on fights where you think the odds are off and, the fighter's a dog that you're betting on. Kevin Lee, good example. That's how I did it with Kevin Lee, guys. I went for winning 2 units as opposed to just betting 2 units. I wanted to win those units, but I didn't want to put those units out. So this strategy is the way I went about betting Kevin Lee. And I'll use this strategy a lot of times when there's good dog value. All right, guys, so there's another option. Just not to put out as much of your bankroll when you're starting out, on the dog picks anyway. All right, guys, so there's a lot of different ways to minimize your risk. And it's all just, experience and making bets and doing things like that. But like I said, it really bothers me when guys are putting out misinformation and it's leading people to losing money. I don't care how nice you are. I don't give a shit about your nice accent and all this bullshit. I know that is all to get people to feel comfortable, and, it gets subscribers and things like that. But you're also taking advantage of people when you're using, the faith they have in you to bring them in on clickbait and lose them cash. So I don't need to say it again. This is the only video, unless I see continuous videos going up, in future. I won't talk about this again. This episode was more of a corrections video, just trying to put you guys on the right track. So hopefully it helped. I will continue to do the strategies videos. PFL picks will be coming out tomorrow, or actually the lines are out now, so I will put that out tomorrow. I expected that it would be Thursday because normally they don't come out until the day of, but they're actually out now. So I will do that PFL video tomorrow. It will come out. And then, of course, UFC, the final picks will come out after the weigh-ins. I really appreciate all you guys that have subscribed and liked in the first week, still in the growing stages of the channel. So I do appreciate that. If you haven't yet, I'd appreciate it if you would, especially if you find value out of these. I have to admit, when I started watching videos or when I was watching predictions and things like that, I didn't click the subscribe and the like a lot. So I understand for those who haven't, it's just one of those things. But if you could, I'd appreciate it. All right, guys, I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.